Hi guys, welcome back. Sorry about the bad audio. I'm just gonna redo that last video. Not entirely. Let's consider the last one as a kind of dress rehearsal, and then I'm gonna shorten it, this one. Just give me a sec. Okay, so I wanted to talk about teaching in Japan. Now, like I said, I already did this video actually, but the audio was not great because I forgot to switch my mic. Now it should be much better. You should be able to hear me much clearer. And I'm just going to kind of very quickly go through the main points, I think. So, yeah, if you're teaching in Japan, just be aware that there's a lot of kind of schools here. Most of them are for kids. So if you're not good with kids, it's obviously not for you because it will drive you up the wall. I'm, for example, not good with kids. So to be fair, though, to be fair, probably 90% of them are like okay, but it's always that kind of 10% that makes your life hell, you know? Yeah. And also just teaching kids is like a different kettle of fish, you know? You especially like the very kind of early beginners, you have to do kind of ABC, etc. And it's just gonna destroy your brain cells, trust me. Like if you do it for maybe 1 week, it's okay, but if you do it for like 1 year, every day, these kind of basic sentences like that, that's just it's not good for your brain, okay? So yeah, if you like dealing with kids though, if that's your cup of tea, then go for it. But if not, just avoid these jobs. There are some for adults, a bit harder to get usually, but I'll mention one company in particular, which is GABA. GABA is pretty big here. They have plenty of schools all over the place. They have a lot of advertisements as well. Now you know where the money's going. Even on the trains, they have these kind of banners there, like GABA, So yeah, how much do they pay though? That's the big question. So GABA actually pays about 1,800 yen per hour, which is not much, especially these days because the yen is not worth a lot. I think it's probably like $12 an hour or something. It's not really an hour technically. I think their lessons are shorter than that, but like roughly it's like $12 an hour. Okay. I teach in private, and I charge 20, and actually I could probably charge more. Because again, it's like a private lesson. It's really, really private, and it's really individual. I mean, it's my lessons. They don't exist anywhere else in the world. Like I designed my course, so I know it doesn't exist anywhere in the world. The books I use is pretty clever because it's kind of a mixture of older books and newer ones, but usually not very well known ones, so I can get away with it. And yeah, I just kind of make my own materials from that. So yeah, I think teaching in private is good here, but the downside is that it's going to be very hard to find students. And this is unfortunate because I think a lot of Japanese are just kind of brainwashed by these type of schools like GABA, etc., etc. They think it's good because like it's a real location and they can physically go there, and there's going to be some kind of foreigner there wearing a suit and a tie, and that's good enough for them. But I can guarantee you that if you're wondering about how much they learn there, it's not much. It's not much. It's kind of more like it's more almost like a gimmick, I would say, at this point. They pay for the experience, but not really for learning the language. So that's kind of a tragedy here. I don't know how you convince these people to change direction. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's possible, because I'm sure, like, look, let's say you have like 100 students at GABA, right? And so that's all they know. They just know GABA. They don't know anything else. And then I'm sure, like, if I get a sample of them, like let's say those 100, they have a class with me, I'm sure that a lot of them would change from GABA to me, because with me they can actually learn something and not just go some to get some kind of entertainment once a week, you know. And they will really get a good experience. I mean, I will really give them good homework. We can practice essays together. I don't think they do that at GABA. I really doubt it. So yeah, and to learn the language, you need to do a lot of homework. It's not just showing up once a week to some location and yeah, you maybe you talk for like 40 minutes or whatever to a foreigner, and then that's it. And then after that, you go back to a 100% Japanese mode. I don't think you're gonna learn much if you do that. So yeah, that's the thing about the private thing. You're gonna have a very tough time finding students here. It's not impossible, but it's just very, very, very tough. There's a couple of websites you can use, but to be honest with you, I didn't get a lot of luck from them. I mean, maybe in the past 3 years or something, 3 to 4 years, well, 3 years, I would say, I only got 2 students from those websites. Well, in particular, one website. The other website is still at 0. But it's strange because it mentions the number of times that my profile was viewed, and it's like, I don't know, 1,500 times or something. It's 1.5 times a day, okay? So there are people watching, but they're just not biting for some reason. I'm not sure why. I mean, I'm pretty sure like my intro is, there's a bit of Japanese in there, and then English. So it's not just English. But I don't know, maybe it's the price that's putting them off or whatever. But the thing is, like, I'm thinking you can always have a test class first, you know. I'm not forcing anybody to just start a lesson with me right away. You can have a test class first. And if you like it, well, then you can continue. But I think like this all starts from like a message, you know. They need to send me a message, and then we can kind of negotiate a little bit. But that's just not happening for some reason. So yeah. So I think that I kind of covered everything here. The last thing I mentioned here is about the contracts here. Now, the contracts in Japan are very different, I would say, from contracts in, for example, the US. Here, they don't really respect the contracts. It will be like kind of very basic information, but you will probably do a lot of tasks which are not even listed in your contract, but like you have to do them because you're part of the company. For example, you may have to clean the classroom. Sometimes it's easy, but sometimes, you know, maybe some, let's say, accidents happen, right? And you'll have to deal with that. They don't have a janitor. You are the janitor. With overtime, they're very crafty here. They will always find ways to not pay you. And even, well, okay, that depends on the school. But even if you, for example, you have a student that cancels, so you have now, let's say, 1 hour free time, okay? But in that 1 hour, you can't like go out and do whatever you want. You can't like take a nap or something. They will find a way to make you work in that hour, which is kind of a gray area, I guess. But I think like they don't really understand that that particular line of work is very, very difficult. I mean, if you work in an office, let's say, and you spend like 8, 9 hours a day, right? But you're doing kind of the same thing over and over again, just like sending emails, probably a lot of emails, filling out some kind of forms, I guess. From time to time, maybe you have to do a phone call. But like teaching is really, really intense. It will drain a lot of your energy, trust me. And I think these type of schools, they don't kind of understand how draining it is to be a teacher. And so that kind of 1 hour break that you get, it would be great to just kind of relax and, yeah, maybe kind of, take a short nap or something. It would really help a lot. But of course, they will not let you do that. So, the final thing I will say here is that a lot of people come to Japan as teachers, but they actually have some kind of other plan in their mind. For example, if there may be IT workers, they will get in as a teacher because it's easier, and then they will maybe use that time to improve their Japanese and then move into some kind of IT company like the next year, right? So I think maybe, and that's cool if you're like that, and that's kind of a good way to get in. Uh, but if you're not like that, if you just come here to be like an English teacher, you're really gonna struggle. The environment is gonna probably crush you. Japan in general has a very brutal work culture, so it crushes a lot of people, even locals, okay? If you're not like mentally strong, it will just completely destroy you. And you'll be lucky to go back somewhere after here, but you'll go back a broken man. That's for sure. So I think that's pretty much it for the video. I think I covered every point, important point about teaching in Japan. If you have any questions, drop me a comment. I'll have a look later. And yeah, just be aware that it's not easy here. And in fact, there was an article not long ago saying that English teachers in Japan live in poverty. And that's not like a surprise. That's not a stretch. That's just a fact. Because with these low salaries, when I was working here at the school, my salary was $10 an hour. $10 an hour, that's minimum wage. You can't survive on that. And they know that. It's kind of like an abuse, And yeah, just be aware of that. Like, you're not gonna make a ton of money being an English teacher here. So I think I've said everything. If you have any kind of questions, comments, drop them in the comments later, and I'll have a look. And yeah, just take care, stay safe, and always do your research, people. Always do your research. It all sounds kind of nice on the internet, but you have to kind of understand what's going on here in the country right now. And also the Japanese yen is in the shitter, right? I mean, when I came here, it was actually pretty good. I think it was like $1 is maybe 105 yen or something, but now $1 is 153 yen. So you can see like how devalued the yen has become. So just be aware of all these things, and yeah, do as much research as you can before you come here, because if you don't, you're probably in for a quite nasty surprise, I would say. So yeah, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one. Bye bye.